That fucking bastard! Bolting upright, Yin felt along her chest for any wound after Doma had stabbed her heart, and was thankful when she didn't feel one. However, what she did not notice was a tiny, almost insolent scar. It was the same when she checked where Doma had taken her arm and slit her throat, along with where Daki and Kitaro had split her. There was always a faint line or gash where she had been hurt or killed. Doma, what the hell? She cursed as she turned towards the demon, only noticing then that all of the upper moons were bowing. She felt his presence before she saw him. Tell me. His smooth, velvet-like voice rolled off his tongue, his tone filled with almost unrestrained resent and loathing. How did this insolent human come back from a death so clearly seen by everyone present? I told you, Muzan-sama, Doma stated as he pushed Yin's head down in a formal bow. After death, no matter what, her body will resort to its previous conditions. Impossible, Muzan scowled. Are you saying that this girl is neither human nor demon when she so clearly is the former? Of course not, Doma replied, his usual cheeky grin plastered on his face. I brought her because I thought you'd like to know about her conditions. Bring her forward. Standing up, Doma grabbed Yin's arm and dragged her to where the progressor stood on a raised platform, leaving her there before returning to his own position in a line of the upper moons. As she knelt down before Muzan, she could feel a bead of sweat build up on her neck due to how heavy his gaze was that cast down on her, flinching when his hand reached out to harshly take a hold of her chin. Finding herself staring into a cold gaze, she could see that Muzan looked just as she remembered. Cat-like eyes, unnaturally pale skin, and black hair. However, something was different. Muzan's hair was no longer what she remembered, and he looked almost younger. In the anime, she recalled how he wore a fedora and extravagant suit, but now he wore a dark black kimono. His expression and his gaze, however, were the exact same as always, cruel and distant. Human, how are you alive? Muzan questioned, the sounds ticking by the second, since Yin didn't know how to answer him, nor her speechlessness, and the way her whole body trembled, irritating him to the point he dragged his nail further into her chin. Answer me, human. Now. It's best to be wise and not test my patience. Pain laced through her. Shit, she cursed, surprising him when she spoke the foreign language he couldn't understand. His grip on her loosened, and Yin was able to jerk her head out of his hold. Yet, even then, his nails scraped against her flesh and left long cuts marging the skin-colored skin. Hissing in pain, she cradled her face as she tried to sleeve it off. Tried to wipe it off with her sleeve of her clothes to stop the bleeding. All of the upper moons, save for Doma, who smiled, blushed at the gale. She had to act that way towards the man they perceived as their lord and master. Yin then froze upon the heavy atmosphere that settled on her shoulders, feeling as if any moment her head would go flying off. She swallowed thickly. Well, shit. Guess I messed up again. Sorry, she muttered in hopes of appeasing Muzan's anger, not even daring to look back into his soulless and piercing red eyes. And I don't know why I'm alive. I just am. Isn't that enough for you? How am I supposed to act in this situation? I'm in front of Muzan freaking Kibutsuji. A demon. A hot demon at that. That's also a psychopath. From an anime. Is that so? Muzan mused as he stood straighter and inclined his head backwards, almost as if he was degrading Yin without even having to say a word. Then if I rip your body into a million pieces, would you still live? Yes. And if I consume you? Yes. And if I let you starve? Yes. I see, he muttered, not once that anger and cold expression of his fading. Yin's vague answers and never-changing personality, however, irritated him. Something he thought should have been impossible, especially from a human. Then, I guess we'll have to test those theories. Huh? Say what now? Yin snapped to attention. By the way, you were saying that in English. Her jaw dropping as she watched Muzan swing his arm upwards to create a rather ill-looking demonic form that grew to an enormous size. The grotesque and discolored red flesh twitching. She blinked. The fuck does he think I'm gonna do? Sit here like a duck? Hell no. Jumping upwards, Yin intimately moved away from Muzan and the mass of flesh that was once his arm, knowing that there was no use in running given the fact that he could manipulate the fortress to his whim using Nakime. You batshit crazy demon, she yelled in English before switching to Japanese when he nearly narrowed those shingly red eyes of his. You can kill me and I'll live, but sure, that doesn't mean I don't want to keep dying over and over again. That shit hurts, you motherfucker. In almost no time at all, Kokushibo had pinned her down with a hand around her neck, his blank gaze giving away nothing as he choked her. Do not address Muzan-sama in such a way, he conceived nonchalantly, his 6 eyes boring into her own and making her blood run cold whilst time around seemingly to freeze. It's unsightly and cautious, and by a human, not to mention. I'm sorry that your Muzan-sama is crazy, Yin gasped out as she felt her head spin, and sorry if I want to live, even if I can't die. Isn't it the same for you, immortal demons? Drop her, Kokushibo, Muzan demanded, and the demon instantly complied to his wishes. Yin collapsed to the floor and greedily gulped in the air that she had been deprived of, having never been so glad that she was able to breathe as she did now. Sending a sharp glare to Kokushibo, who just stood there unaffected, she slowly stood up, regaining the feeling in her body. She had practically been seeing the stars, and as she rubbed her neck, she knew a bruise was already forming. That little shit. You suck, she scowled at Kokushibo, gripping at him as she dusted imaginary dust off her clothes. This wish to not die that you say we demons have in common with you. Muzan took her attention away as he stalked closer to her, stopping only a mere inches away. Why do you say that? Because, Kibutsuji, she addressed him almost casually, making all demons shift from how mocking it seemed. You know, you'll all die one day. Isn't that why you're looking for the blue spider lily? To be able to walk in the sun as a perfect immortal being, honestly. You know you fear death. And that's the funniest thing about this conversation. It's time for a Toagawa era secret. For a total of 10 hours, Muzan didn't allow the upper moons to do anything or go anywhere until Yin woke up as Doma claimed she could. Yin definitely felt submissive when Muzan took a hold of her chin. Yin kind of liked being able to say or do whatever without any major consequences on her life, especially since she'll only regenerate. The reason why she chose to reveal how she knew of Muzan's goals. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Mwah!